Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF Yomi, Yevamos Kuf Aleph. We begin right on top. Back to the Mishnah, where a woman, after having been married to Ruvain, went over and married Shimon. Soon after, without waiting the prescribed 3-month wait period, soon after the second marriage, she had a baby. We're not sure whether he was fathered by Ruvain, the first husband, or in fact Shimon is his father. Tanu Rabbanon, we learned in a Bryce. We know that a child may not strike or curse his parents. In fact, there is Misa applied as a result. Now this child is unsure as to whether Ruvain is his father or Shimon. So what happens when it comes to penalizing him on account of striking or applying a klala to one of the two fathers? Tan Rabbanan learned in a brisa, suppose he struck Ruvain, v'chazar v'hikazeh, then he struck Shimon. And every time there was a hasra, of course the Edom have to warn him, don't strike him, he may be your father. Don't strike him, he may be your father. So really, it's called hasra'as safek. They're only warning him on account of that suffix. So what happens? Does he get penalized or not? The same thing would apply to Klola. Kileil zeh. He applied a curse to Ruvain. V'chazar v'kileil zeh. Then he repeated the same thing with Shimon. So here it was in sequence. First this one and then that one. Or both simultaneously. Kileil shnei b'vas achas. He applied one klala to both Ruvain and Shimon at once, and he was warned beforehand. Or he applied he struck, he hit. Rashi says he took one makel, right, one stick, and he struck both Ruvain and Shimon in one go. Certainly in this case he would be chayiv. But even in the first case, Tanakama holds, even when it's a hasras suffix, they're not sure whether this one will do it or that one, whether he's his father or his. The hasra, the warning, takes effect, and he is guilty. And Rabbi Yehuda Omer, well, he says it depends. Bevas achas chayiv. Certainly, if it happened at once, he did one makkah on Ruvain and Shimon, then you know this maasa committed the avera, he is chayiv. But if it's sequentially went from one to the next, and each one individually is not certainly an isser. So you can't penalize him because it's called hasra'as safek. The warning issued on either ma'asa was only a suffix, and therefore he's pater. But if it's bevas achas, then he's chayiv. Even though he struck two people at the same time, one of which is father, one is not, he's still chayiv. V'atanya. But don't we have a brisa where Rabbi Yehuda Omer pater? He's pater even in this case of bevas achas pater. Yeah, Trei Tanoi, Ali Rabbi Yehuda, do two versions of Rabbi Yehuda. According to one version, as long as it's bevas achas, both parents at once, I should say not both parents, Ruvain and Shimon at once, he's chayiv. And according to version number 2, he will be pater even in this case. Why? He struck his father in this mass. So why my time demand Omar demand pater? Why would we say Rabbi Yehuda is pater in this case? We do find the Torah warns against applying a bracha, it's a euphemism for a curse. Lamata, down here in this world, meaning pertaining to parents who are in this world. Don't do that. Likewise, we find that the Torah warns against applying a klala to the one above, to Hashem. Chas v'shalom. And we equate the two things. Malo, she'ein bo shutfus. Just as the idea of the klala lamala is something directed at Hashem who has no partner, so to speak. He is one and one alone, the source of all existence. Aflamata, likewise, down here, when we speak about a similar concept of applying a klala to a parent, which, by the way, you see, the Gemara says that parents, the kavod applied to a parent is like covered applied to Hashem. Hukash kvoidam l'kavod hamakim, as the Gemara in Kedushin says. Because as the Mefarshim, the Ramban, Mefarshim explain, because when one is respecting a parent, he is really respecting the power of creation that Hashem embedded within them. Hashem empowers parents to bear children. So the kavod to parents is really to the divinity within them. That's why the Torah equates kavod to parents like kavod to Hashem. So here as well we're comparing the two things. And we say just as lamala by Hashem, there are no shutfim. Af lamato she'en bo shutfus. Likewise, the klola that can be applied lamata down here has to be directed at the real thing. Only that individual, the true father, without any other parties involved. We find that the Psukim place the concept of striking a parent next to the concept of applying a klola. We equate the two things. It has to be directed squarely at the parent without any other interaction, without any other interference. And over here, although in this masa, when he strikes both Reuven and Shimon, in this masa there is a parent involved, but there is another party involved as well, not interferes. So we have three shittas. Tanakama holds even Reuven and then Shimon. But Zeh Chazer, he's still chayiv. Hasra as-safek works. Certainly if it's in one go, on both. Rabbi Yehuda, version number 1 holds, on one go is chayiv, in 2 goes is pater. According to version 2, even in 1 go is pater as well, because there's shutfas. So Reuven and Shimon were both kohanim. This son, well, he's certainly a kohen, but since he doesn't know who his father is Reuven my father or Shimon my father? So when it comes to serving the Mikdash, I can't get a chelik of the carbon because look, maybe you belong to the other rotation, to the other mishmar. You don't belong here today. So when it comes to that, he can't get. But the Mishnah says that he goes up with the mishmar of both Reuven's mishmar and Shimon's mishmar, and he serves in the Mikdash. Asks the Gemara, if he's not going to get a portion of the carbon, why would he go up to begin with? What do you mean, lama oila? Ha'amar, because he says, but you know, the ne'avid mitzvah, I want to do a mitzvah, I have a chiv to serve in the Mikdash, you can't force me out. What do you mean, why? That's why. Hella, rather, the kasha was like this. Ola like tani. You see, the Mishnah doesn't say, if he came up, he doesn't get the carbon to eat. It doesn't say that. Ella, what then does it say? Oila. He has to go up. But al karcha against this, well, we force him up. Why? Why do we force this suffix to come up and serve? Omar of Achabar Chanina. Omar Abai, I'll tell you why. Omar B'Asir and B'Yechon. Mishum P'gam B'Shpach. You see, if he never comes up, if he never shows up in the Mikdash, either family will be embarrassed. They'll be self-conscious. They'll think, people are probably talking about this fellow, part of this family, he's not coming up to serve, there must be something wrong with him, there must be deficient, must be a psul. And therefore they don't want that bad reputation, they force him to come up. So he has to come up with this family and with that family and serve in the Mikdash, even though he doesn't get much in terms of a chelik of the carbon. He's totally Yishem Shemayim. But if both parents, Reuven and Shimon, belong to the same group serving the Mikdash, then he can come up and serve and get a chelik. Either way, I deserve a chelik, whether I'm Reuven or Shimon's son. Asks the Gemara, 1 second. In every mishmar, there were batei avos as well. There were like family. They were split into families. Each family would be oived, in that day, during that day of the week. So the mishmar was split into 6, as per the days of the week. Now, suppose Reuven belonged to the Sunday Beis Av and Shimon to the Monday Beis Av. So how is this child going to get a chelik? Sure, you're part of this week's rotation, but which day? Why is it that if Reuven and Shimon belong to different groups, we have an issue? He can't get a chelik. Why? The Azal HaMishmara. When he goes to this group, they push him away. You belong to the other group. When they go to the second group, push him back to the first group. So he's being tossed around without having a definitive, identity. if so, Mishmar Echad Nami. Suppose Reuven and Shimon both belong to the same group here as well. Azalahai Beisav, when he approaches this family, they push him to the other one. And the same on the other side. So how could you say that he gets a chelik in the carbon? Just because it's, both fellows belong to the same Mishmar, it still doesn't entitle me to have a chelik in this Beisav. Maybe I belong to the other Beisav. The Mishnah means the Beisav Echad. If both Reuven and Shimon belong to the same weekly rotation and daily rotation, then he's safe. Noitel Chelek Echad, he deserves at least one chelik, and he's safe. Continues the Mishnah. So we know that the flip side of Yibam is Chalitza, where she walks over to the Yavam, removes his shoe, and that releases her from the Yibum, a bond. The Sepharim, the Chaim explained that the Neshama of a Yid, at least the portion which relates directly to this world, is resembled in one's foot, the bottom of the foot, the Akev, specifically the heel area. And when she pulls off that shoe, that sort of releases the Neshama. In this case, the Neshama is the departed husband who's still bound to this world. He's looking for, some sort of tikkun to have his name reestablished. So when that shoe is removed from the Yevam's Regel, that does to release. It releases the Neshama of the departed fellow, the foothold, so to speak, that he would have in this world, and releases him up, and now the process culminates, and she can go ahead and marry a stranger. Says the Mishnah, how do we do chalitza? Who has to officiate? How many dayanim do we need? Do we need dayanim at all? Mitzvah's chalitza b'shleisha dayanim. You need to have 3 dayanim present at the chalitza. But you don't really need dayanim. Even if you have just ordinary citizens, non-dayanim, that's okay. The Gemara will ask and explain this. Typically, we use a sandal. Sandal is made of hardened, thick, hard leather, as opposed to a minol, which is used to describe more of a flimsy, soft type of leather covering around one's foot, which can disintegrate, rub out, and perhaps become puzzle for chalitza. That's why we seek to use a more durable type of foot covering, which is called a sandal. But, says the Mishnah, cholza b'minol, even if they use the minol, made of soft leather, it works. Chalitzasak shira. However, ban pilya, if it's just a material foot covering, that doesn't really protect the foot, and it has to be something that can protect. Nal, Rashi says, is something that can protect and secure one's foot, but just a material covering, that doesn't work. Chalitzasa pesula. Besandal shlishli ekev kashav. The sandal, which is really, like we said, a shoe, but it's called a sandal because it's made of hardened leather, or thicker and durable material. So this sandal has an ekev, a heel, and a sole which contains and protects the foot, then it's fine, then it's kosher. So besandal shlish ekev kosher, but v'she'ein ekev pasal, doesn't have the bottom properly secured, that's pasal. Minar kuva l'mato. Suppose this yavam is missing the bottom of his foot, of his leg, and she will remove the shoe from somewhere on that leg, but it's below the knee. That's okay. That's still called regel. But if it's above the knee, min harkuva lamala, his foot was amputated, and she's going to have to deal with the area above the knee. That's no good. Chalitzasa pesula. Chalta besandal she'en shaloi. Let's say they used a shoe which doesn't really belong to the yavam. Oy besandal shel eitz, or a wooden shoe. That's also good. That protects the foot, so that's also fine. Oy b'shel smoil. Let's say it's a left-footed. It belongs to the left foot, and b'yamin it's sitting on his right foot. So it's a left-footed shoe sitting on his right. Chalitzasa kshera, but the it works. Chalta begadol. Let's say the shoe is really oversized, but he can still, walk with it. Shu yachal lahalich boy. Oy bekatna, or it's quite small, but it's large enough that it covers most of his foot. Shu chayfes reif ragloi. In all these cases, Chalitzasa kasher. Asks the Gemara. Well, you start off saying you need 3 dayanim. Then you say even 3 ordinary citizens. Which one? Once you say even 3 ordinary people are fine for chalitza, dayanim, normally, why do you even mention dayanim? The Mishnah is trying to teach us that, true, you don't need dayanim, you don't need official fellows, but you need experts. People that know what they're doing. You need at least 3 people that they're well versed and proficient in the psukim, Lashon HaKodesh. They know how to dictate the psukim, kein dayanim, just as a judge would do. So that's the bottom line. As long as they're proficient, it's okay. Tanina lahod rabbanon. In fact, our Mishnah is a riot to the Brisa, which espouses the same. Mitzvahs chalitza b'shloish. You need 3 people at the chalitza. Sheyodim lahakris kein dayanim, who know how to dictate, who are well versed in the psukim, just as a dayan would be. Rabbi Omer b'chamisha. Here comes a new shita. 3 is not enough. You need 5 individuals. My time at Tanakama. Why does the Tanakama hold 3 is enough? The Sanya. It's based on the following price. The pasuk says, "Zikenim v'olso yevimtoi hashara el askenim." Yevamos goes up to the Zikenim. Zikenim is Shnaim too, and of course ve'ein bezdin shakel. So the fellows are considered a bezdin, and a bezdin can never be an even number, because otherwise they can get to a stalemate. So you can't have an equal number. So you add a 3rd fellow to give it an odd number. So you get the 3. Harikan shalosh. Rabbi Yehuda says no, 3 is not enough. You need 5. Why? Because we have the word zikenim, as we mentioned, plus it says ziknei. V'koroloi ziknei iroi. So ziknei is shnaim, and zikenim, as we just mentioned, is also shnaim. So it's a total of 4, and of course it can't be an even number. Ve'ein bezdin is shakel, it can't be balanced. You add another fellow, which gets you to 5. What does Tanakama do with the lashon ziknei? He applies it for another halach. L'Rabbi, to tell you that even if you have just 3 ordinary citizens, as we mentioned, that is sufficient, and that's why the pasuk adds ziknei to tell any elder, any expert's enough. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda, who already used the pasuk of ziknei for the for the number 5, how does he know hadyotis? He learns it from another pasuk. Le'ene, damarmar, as we learned, le'ene. The word le'ene, which is mentioned by Yibam, has to be within view of the of the dayanim. That's coming to tell you prat l'sunim, to exclude fellows who are blind, who don't have einayim, who can't see. Now, once we have the pasuk le'ene, to exclude a blind man, that in itself is a strong indicator. That's a riot. That's going to tell you that even a non-dayan is okay. It doesn't have to be an official judge. Why? Because if it were so that we need an official judge, a dayan who is kosher to serve in a bezdin, then of course he can't be blind. We already know that from elsewhere. This is Sanhedrin. Because if you really need a true dayan that can sit on the Sanhedrin, why do we need a new pasuk le'ene to rule out a summa? But the Tanya of Yosef Nafka, you have already ruled them out because of Rav Yosef. The Tanya of Yosef, a dayan sitting on the bezdin, has to be unblemished. Just as bezdin is free of any character deficiencies, just as they are righteous and pure, they have to be free of any physical blemishes. So we see that the bezdin has to be without a mum. So this is Rabbi speaking, right? The fact that the Torah has to speak about being memayit a summa, apparently we're not speaking about a dayan who was automatically disqualified. by default he can't participate because a dayan is not allowed to be a summa. Apparently, the Torah sought to teach us this halacha that a summa is not qualified for chalitza. Apparently, we're speaking about an ordinary person. V'idach. Now the other shita, Tanakama, hahu le'ena ma'yavid le. What does he do with le'ene? Meaning that the Tanakama already knows the halacha of hadyotis from ziknei. So what does he do with le'ene? That's coming to teach us a new halacha. The judges have to see, they have to actually observe the spit, to coming out of the mouth of the Yevamos. It has to see it, it has to be visible. It has to be something that they actually notice. What does Rabbi do to learn this halacha? Well, how does he know it from? Doesn't he need this pasuk of le'ene for Rava? Enechanami is true. If so, then how does he know hadyotis? Nafkale may be Israel. It says lahakam lachav shem be Israel. Israel means anybody amongst the Jewish nation can officiate during the chalitza. Israel code, anybody can be in charge of that. You don't need a dayan. V'idach Tanakama. What do they do with Israel? Hi. Be Yisrael, Ma'avid Le, what does it do with Be Yisrael? Miboile, he applies it for another halacha. Tod, Nid of Shmuel Bar Yehuda. The word Be Yisrael teaches us, Bebezin Shal Yisrael. The ones who are in charge of this chalitza have to be a bezin of Yisrael. V'loi Bebezin Shal Gerim, as opposed to whether if they're coming from a family of Gerim, their father is a Ger, it doesn't work. V'idach, what does Rabbi do? How does he know this halacha? In that same parsha of Yibum, we have another mentioning of the word Yisrael. What does the Tanakama do with that second Yisrael? The Sanya applies it for another halacha. It's what happens that once we were sitting in front of Rabbi Tarfon, and we experienced a chalitza. Yevamos comes to get a chalitza. Rav Tarfon turns to us. And he says, "Anu kulchem." Everybody respond and declare, "Chalutz hanal," as the pasuk says, right? V'nikish shmoi b'Yisrael chalutz hanal. So it teaches us that all present have to respond. V'idach, how does Rabbi Yehuda know this halacha? V'nikra nafka, because the word v'nikra is right next to b'Yisrael. So the fact that the pasuk puts b'Yisrael next to v'nikra tells you this as well, that all present have to be v'nikra, have to be part of that declaration. Asks the Gemara, Elamiyata, if this is the case, that from Ziknei we learn 2, from Zikenim another, we learn 2, 4, according to Tanakama 3, according to Rabbi Yehuda 5. So when the pasuk says v'karu lo Ziknei, they call to him. So who's calling the bezin? So v'karu is 2, shnayim. Then they speak to him. V'dibru ela, v'dibru is another 2, shnayim. If that's the case, you're upgrading it, upgrading the numbers. You're adding another 4 dayanim. Rabbi Yehuda harikan tisha. Rabbi Yehuda is going to go from 5 to 9. The Rabban harikan shiva. Rabban goes from 3 to 7. How that pasuk of v'karu v'dibru, that's needed for another halacha and unavailable to add numbers. What is it needed for? The Sanya, as the Bryce explains, the bezin have to approach them directly. They approach the Yavam directly. They don't send a shliach. It has to be with a personal touch. They speak to him. What do they speak to him about? They give him some good advice. They look out for his interests. What's good for you? You have a choice between Yibum and Chalitza. Let's evaluate the options and see what's the best for you. Shema Yehu Yelat Vizakanas. Let's say the Yavam was a youngster and she was an older fellow. Who's Zakin Viyaldo, or she's younger and he's older. We tell him, look, this is not a good match. Malacha Ital Yalda, Malacha Ital Skena. Why get involved with a youngster or somebody older than you? Klach Etzal Shekamoischa. Go find somebody your own age. Va'al Tachnis Ketato Sech Beischa, rather than getting a household full of tension and friction. So that's what the pasuk is teaching us. The Korah light, they go on in person and approach him and speak to him to ensure that he makes the right, responsible decision. Amar Rav Nachman, halacha. What is the halacha l'maisa? Is it 3 dayanim or 5? Chalitza b'shleisha. You only need 3. Why? Hoil v'sasamon tanu kavasei. Because our Tana, our Mishnah, presents an anonymous Mishnah. Rabbi, when he was Mesader the Mishnayos, right, in our Mishnah, we have a Stam Mishnah, that it's 3, and apparently that is the halacha l'maisa. Amalei Rav Nachman, if that's the case, you're following a Stam Mishnah, which is indicative of the fact that Rabbi, with all the Talmidei Chachamim, concluded as such. What about by Miyun Nami, an Isha that is a Ktana, married to a man, she walks away from him, right? How many people have to be part of that process? This nan, Ha Miyun, V'chalitza b'shloisha. Miyun, like Chalitza, requires only 3. So what do you tell me? That we always follow the Stam Mishnah, and therefore Miyun is done with 3 people. Really? But Tanya, we have another Mishnah in the Sanhedrin that you don't need 3. 2 is enough. By Miyun. Miyun, B'shami Oimrim Bezdin Mumchin. You have to have an expert Bezdin involved. Only the experts can do it. Ubesil Oimrim, no, but Bezdin, you can have an expert Bezdin, Shaloi Bezdin. Just a plain Bezdin is enough. You don't need qualified Dayanim. Eilav Eilav Moidim, all agree, Shetzarach Shlosh, you need 3 people involved. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yosef, Machshir Mishnayim, you say 2 is fine. And that's how we paskin. Amar Rav Yosef, Bar Menyumi, Amar Rav Nachman. Halacha is Ka'isa Azug, like that pair, like this Chavrusa. 2 is enough. What do you mean? There's a Stam Mishnah, which we mentioned a minute ago, which says Miyun, like Chalitza, needs 3. How can you conclude 2? It's a big difference. Hasam Chatztam. When it comes to Miyun, we only have 1 Mishnah, which is a Stam Mishnah, and in Sanhedrin, that 3 is enough. As opposed to by Chalitza, we have 2 Mishnahs, which are Stam Mishnahs, that 3 is enough. The one in our parak, and the one in Sanhedrin, that 3 is enough. Well, Asam Nami, there as well by Miyan, we find another Mishnah, which is a Stam Mishnah, that Miyan needs 3. Trei Stam Mininu, it's a total of 2. Which other Mishnah? The Snan. It's actually a Mishnah back in DAF Chafein in Yevamos. The Snan, Miyan Shechalza Befanav. This Dain was involved in a Miyan procedure, or a Chalitza procedure. He can go follow and marry her. We're not concerned that he was driven by personal interest. This whole thing was a scheme, was a setup. Why? Why don't we have that suspicion? Because, look, he wasn't acting alone. He was part of a threesome, a trio, a bezdin. Bottom line, we see that Miyun is done in front of 3 people, a bezdin. So here's another Stam Mishnah that you need 3. So why don't we need 3? Ella, rather, Hasam Trei Stam. True. By Miyun we have 2 Mishnahs that are Stam. Hachat Lasa Stam. By Chalitza we have 3. The one on our page, the one in Sanhedrin, and the one that we just mentioned, which mentions Miyun and Chalitza needs 3. So here's 3, but by Miyun it's only 2. Hachat Lasa Stami. What's the difference as they go on Michte? Let's think about this. Hastama. By Chalitza you have a Stam Mishnah for number 3. V'hastama by Miyun as well you have a Stam Mishnah presenting the number 3. Mali chad stam. What difference does it make if it's 1 stam, mali trei stam, or if it's 2, mali toso, it's even 3. Fact is, when Rabbi HaKadosh was soising in his Mishnah, he meant it. And this is the halacha. 1, 2, 3 times. What difference does it make? So bottom line is, if we're not going to pass like a Stam Mishnah when it comes to Miyun, why then when it comes to Chalitza do we follow the Stam Mishnah? We say, well, it's a question of 3 or 5. Tanakam or Rav Yehuda, we follow the Stam Mishnah, it's 3. Why? Ella Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. I'll tell you why we conclude that 3 is enough. Hoil v'sasam or v'stam b'makam achlekes. We find there's a Mishnah where Rav Yehuda and Tanakam, these same shittas, have a discussion, have machlekes pertaining to other things. But in that very same Mishnah, he seemed to agree. Rav Yehuda seems to have retracted his shita. He conceded to the Rabbanon that 3 is enough, and that's why we go with that number. This non smichas zakenim be'egla rufa. Halachas pertaining to egla rufa. Over there we say b'shlesh you need 3 involved. The Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Daim b'chamish you need 5. So that's the machlekes. And then when it comes to hachalitza amiyunin b'shleisha. Chalitza only needs 3. What do you mean? Rabbi Yehuda, he says 5. Right? Rabbi Yehuda holds 5. Well, like in Rabbi Yehuda, we don't find Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Shmamina, it's a right that Hadabe Rabbi Yehuda Shmamina, that he reverted, he retracted. And that's why we paskin that 3 is enough for chalitza. Amar Rabbi, Tzrichi Dayani Lemik Baduchta. Before they do chalitza, the dayanim have to establish, have to designate. Okay, that's the mokum that we're going to do chalitza. Mepharshim explain it's to be mefarsim, to advertise, to publicize the event, so that people know that she's a chalutza. She can't go with a kohen. People, she's available. They'll propose shidduchim for her. How do we know this? Tachsiv, also yivim toya shar elaskim. She goes up to this shar, a designated place. Rav Papa, Rav Huna, Beit Avishua, Avdi Uvda, they too made a chalitza b'chamisha with 5 dayanim officiating. Why 5? Command Rabbi Yehuda. In accordance with Shittas Rabbi Yehuda, v'hadabe. I thought he conceded. I thought he retracted. So why 5? You're right. You only need 3. Live for Sum and Milsa. They did it to create that publicity, to make a scene. Again, the point is that people should realize she's a chalutza. Don't marry a kohen. Rashi says people should come marry her. They realize she's available. So it's for her benefit. Rav Ashi Ikla. Rav Ashi encountered, he came to visit the town, the Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana. Amalei, Rav Kahana turns to him and says, what a distinguished guest. Come join us for the chalitza. Solik Mar Lagabon. Come up with us, Lamluyi Bechamisha, to fill up the quorum of 5. We need 5. And again, the point wasn't that he needed it, but it was Lefar same Milsa. Omer Rav Kahana. Havaka Imna, I was standing in front of you. The Amarli tells me, Ta Sak, come up. There's a decanate to that specific place there with the bundles of the bundle of reeds, a designated place. As we said before, we need to have a makam kavor. Come with us, let's taruva bechamisha, to join us for the 5 people getting involved in doing the chalitz. Amrulai. So they asked Rabbi Yehuda, why do you need 5? 3 is enough. Amar Luz, he told him the same answer, just to create publicity. Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, he was actually a ger. Have a koi committed Rav Yehuda, he was standing in front of Rav Yehuda. Amar, and again he turned to his guest, he says, Suck, come up, come, Lizirza Dekani, to that place with the bundle, to the Makab Kavul, it's the Rufa Bechamisha, to join the quorum of 5, the first Sumim Milsa. And here he explained it was just to create a scene for publicity reasons. Armalei, but then he says to him, look, I can't, I'm not qualified. Tanina, we have a brisa that doesn't allow me to join. The pasuk Yisrael tells us, but Bezdin Yisrael has to be Bezdin of Yisraelim. V'loi bebezdin shel ger, as opposed to individuals who are gerim. V'ana gerim, I'm a ger, I can't come. And even though he was only needed for number 5, but the fact is, he invited him as as a regular dayan, and perhaps it would appear like he's from the first, the initial 3, the 3 dayanim, and I can't. I'm a ger. I'm Rav Yehuda. And Rav Yehuda said, "Kigoyin Rav Shmuel Rav Yehuda, a person like Rav Shmuel, even though he's a ger, anybody, him or anyone like him, is so reliable and trustworthy. He's such a trustworthy person that despite his apparent, inferiority or whatever, I would trust him to be mapik mamoina, to actually use his testimony to force somebody to pay money. That's how believable he is. Mapik mamoina, I would take out money apume based on the testimony, based on his words. Really? Mapik sakadaita, you can actually extract money based on the testimony of one person? The person says, you need 2 Edom for that. Hella, rather, all he meant to say is, it is so reliable that Marana Shtora Apume, if there's a star document, and Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda says, look, I know for a fact that this loan has been paid up, I would no longer get involved in that case. Marana Shtora, I would just, do away with the star based on his words. So let's do a quick Chazara. We have a woman who married Shimon soon after marrying Reuven. Without waiting that wait period, Levi was born. Is Reuven my father? Shimon my father? We have many issues here as far as hakov, a klala. What happens if he applies a maka or klala to either one? What happens? So we have 3 shittas. Tanakama says if it's sequentially Reuven and then Shimon, certainly if it's both together in one shot, he is chayiv. Rabbi Yehuda, according to version 1, says, yeah, but vasachas chayiv. according to version 2, even in that case, he's not chayiv because he's a shutvis. It's not directly squarely at his father, and we equate lamata to lamala to Hashem. It has to be without shutvis. If both Reuven and Shimon were kehanim, then he should go up and serve in the mikdash, but he can't have a chelik because he can't necessarily establish himself as a member of any specific mishmar. But if both Reuven and Shimon belong to the same mishmar and to the same family, the same base of, so he knows which week and which day, then he's treated like a regular kohen. We learned about mitzvahs chalitza. Ideally, use a sandal made of more rugged, durable leather. A minel, a softer material, is fine. So is an eitz, but not the anpilya, just plain material. That wouldn't work. That's not something which is protective. It doesn't have the din of a nal. How many dayanim are involved? Well, firstly, you don't even need true dayanim, as long as they're experts. You need either 3 according to Tanakama or 5 according to Yehuda. The halacha l'maisa is 3 is enough, but we find that in several instances they required more than 3. They wanted wanted 5. They wanted to create a person to publicize this matter. Rashi says for 2 reasons. In order that people know that she's a chalutza, can't marry a kohen. Inami, says Rashi, the lights inchi, people should come along, v'likvit to Allah, and know that she's available for marriage. All the best to you and much hatzlach.